You ever wished that you could get those small victories over those that have wronged you? Or got back at someone who just made you feel small? Well, today we're looking at r/PettyRevenge. Next time, think before you speak. This happened a few years ago when I was the electronics department manager at a popular retail chain. One night, for reasons, I had to work the closing shift, which ended at 11 p.m, and I was the only associate left on that side of the store at the end of the night. Towards the end of my shift, I was straightening merchandise in an area where the phone starts ringing in the back of my department. It takes me a little bit to get there, and I answer. It's a guy asking if we had a new Madden for Xbox. I said, sure, we have plenty. Then he says, oh, okay. Next time do your job and answer the phone. Click. This just rubbed me the wrong way, so I went to the game case and pulled every copy of Madden for Xbox and put them behind the electronics counter and just waited. About 15 minutes later, a Hispanic dude and his buddy showed up and walked to the game case, and after a couple of seconds, he walks back from the case and looks over at me and looks around. My face has a real smug look and says that, yeah, I'm the only one here. Instead of giving me the satisfaction of telling him we're just out, he walks away defeated. Don't be rude to someone if you're looking to get something from them. It's when you're rude to someone and then they hold the power, you're kinda asking for some petty revenge like this. Have fun with your smelly treasure hunt, asshole. My ex-fiancé has serious mental health and substance abuse problems. Over the years, he's been emotionally abusive to me as well, although I'm only realizing the extent of it now, unfortunately. The final straw was when he drove us to dinner drunk, didn't realize until after, and was too wasted to find where he parked his car afterwards. I got angry with him, and he just walked away and abandoned me downtown at night in an unfamiliar city with a broken phone to get a cab home. So I dumped him as soon as he walked in the door, and now he's kicking me out with no notice. Fine, I have my own condo in a way cooler city that I've just been leaving empty half the year to live with him in this poopy Florida suburb. I'll gladly leave, but I couldn't leave without effing with him in some way. This miserable asshole has tormented and disrespected me so much, he just can't get away with it, can he? At first I wanted to key "I abuse women" into his car and poke holes in his hot tub. My friend talked me out of that because I don't need a criminal record. But then I remembered these horrible, but mostly harmless pranks my friends and I used to pull on each other in high school. One of the best ones was when my friend and I took a pack of lunch meat and hid it in inconvenient, difficult to find places all over our friend's house. We even taped bacon to the tops of his fan and cut out little meat CDs and hid them in his CD cases. We got very creative. His house smelled so bad he was still finding them weeks/months later. He was so effing pissed. So I woke up at 5 a.m. today, pockets of old jeans? Meat. Bottom of forgotten boxes in the back of every closet? Meat. The little side pockets of your backpack? Meat. The light fixtures in your bathroom? Unscrewed and put back with bits of meat in them. The paintings in the living room? Meat taped to the back. The cushion on your couch? You guessed it, there's meat in there too. Meat is everywhere, but it's hidden in the last spots you'd think to look. In a few days or a week, he's going to start to smell a whiff of rot every time he walks into a room, and for a while, he's not going to know why. Then he'll start finding them. After a few, he'll realize the extent of what I've done. He'll go mad and start emptying every box and pocket, unscrewing the caps of every container to look for his meat. It's petty as hell, but the thought fills me with so much glee. Have fun with your smelly treasure hunt, asshole. I'll be busy living and smelling my best life. I mean, this isn't something you should do on the regular, I guess unless your friends are in on it, but I think this is a situation that definitely deserves some meat revenge. He made his own bed, then he laid in it. Back when I was in high school, I was living in an apartment complex with my father and stepmother. One night, I had a friend sleeping over. Both my father and stepmother were out, and my friend and I were at the apartment alone. It was about 11 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. when there was a knock at the door. I opened the door, and 2 police officers were standing on the other side. They pushed their way in and started asking us questions. Whose alcohol is that? My parents'. Why do you have books on witchcraft? I like to study different religions. Before leaving, they told me that my neighbor complained that we were making too much noise and told us to keep it down. We weren't making noise, but whatever. About 30 minutes later, my stepmother came home and I told her about what happened. She said she would take care of it and told my friend and me to go to bed. The next morning, I asked my stepmother about what happened last night. She said that she called the cops on the neighbor for a noise complaint. The cops showed up and knocked on the door. The neighbor would only talk to them through the door and told them they would need a warrant before they would open the door. The cops left and they came back with a warrant. Upon entering the apartment, they found drugs, drug paraphernalia, and alcohol. Not everyone in that group was of age. My neighbor was arrested for possession and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. I don't know what's going on through these people's thick heads that they should call the police on someone when they're doing worse stuff. Maybe they're thinking that if they do it first that they won't call the cops back on them? I don't know. Stupidest revenge ever. My father's friend worked for a forest products company that was bought by a big multinational firm. They made a lot of changes he didn't like, blah blah blah, so he quit. And then to totally screw them over, in his feeble mind at least, he didn't cash his last paycheck. For real. It's for $848 from 1998, and he keeps it in the glove box of his truck to show people. Tells the story, imagine how he'd been screwing up their payroll bookkeeping in the office for 25 years. I'm not making this up. I think he's kind of just screwing himself there and not getting his money. I'm sure they figured out a way to sort that, even if it's just putting the $484 in a separate account for if you ever cash it. Sure, it's not the hardest thing to deal with. Senior boy wouldn't stop abusing me, so I chucked his entire accumulative end-of-year report in the trash, causing him to fail. The title pretty much spells it out. The year I was a senior in high school, I was in the journalism class, writing and illustrating monthly for the newspaper. I was a neurospicy weirdo then, as I am a neurospicy weirdo now, and thus an easy target at the lowest rung within the social hierarchy of teens. This one boy in the journalism class was horrible. He would regularly call me names, poke at my appearance, spit in my hair, trip me as I walked by, openly got others to laugh my way, constantly and loudly belittled my work. He wouldn't stop. As we neared the end of the semester, with graduation a few weeks away, we had a huge final coming up. An accumulated folder that needed to include every single piece of work we had completed over the year. Absent work took off points. No work meant a fail. After a particularly crappy day of boy picking on me again, I was the last person in class, ready to close up for the day, when I spotted his folder in our class workstation. I had been wondering how I could stick up for myself or get him back, and there was the answer right in front of me. Completely not fully premeditated, I stuffed his folder in my bag, walked out of the classroom, and then chucked it in the dumpster that was behind the nearby Starbucks. Without his folder, plus his general slack-off behavior, he failed the course, and had to take summer classes to make up for the lost communications credit. He kinda got what he deserved. I don't think there's much more to say about that, but screw that guy, I guess. Performer didn't realize I was the manager. Some years ago, my partner and I managed a bar, and we had live acts every Friday night. We had inherited a few bookings from the previous managers, but we honored the bookings. One night, we had a comedian who before us had performed regularly at the bar. Anyway, at the time, I dressed like a student and had long dyed hair. The regulars all knew I was the manager and had no problems with my appearance. The comedian starts his act and spots me collecting glasses and proceeds to complain about students. How lazy they are, look at this one, can't get a proper job, what's with her hair, etc. No laughter. So he carries on laying into me. I smile and continue working. After the set, I walk over to give him his cash and he's already got more dates to book with us. The joy as I said, no thanks, I'm the manager and I will never book you again. Watching his face fall was beautiful. I'm not sure what about working in a bar is lazy, but I mean, yeah, this guy doesn't deserve to get booked again being disrespectful like that. And clearly he wasn't even funny. PettyRevenge. When I was at my second year of university, my buddy managed an apartment building. Some of his tenants were having a party and invited him, and he invited me. I was in a smaller city about 75 miles away from there. I recognized some of the people hosting the party as being from my hometown. A year behind me and not in the same social group, but whatever, it's university, right? I could tell that this one particular woman was the ringleader, and the others were all dudes, all of whom I recognized. So my friend steps out to get something from his apartment, and she tells her friends to kick me out of the party. To clarify, I never said a word to any of these people in my life, and vice versa. I was in the stoner group, and they were whatever they were. I didn't mention it to my friend, I just let it slide. Fast forward 8 years, I'm back home at my 10-year reunion having a good time, and I see the queen bee ass at my reunion. When she walks off and is alone for a bit, I walk over and say, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but you kicked me out of a party once for basically no reason. Do you remember that? She said she had problems with alcohol and apologized. I said, yeah, I know you're in the class behind me by a year, and I don't really think you belong here because this isn't your class, and I think you should leave. She broke down at that point, and probably accepted what a horrible person she was to me. I don't know if she changed or not, but revenge was a dish served cold that day. I mean, fair enough. It's a bit long to wait in my opinion, but if it works for you, it works for you. I'm sure you don't really even have the authority to kick them out, so if they decide to listen, that's on them. I feel a little bitter now. Today I was at the hospital waiting for test results, and this guy is just non-stop yapping about what is going to happen when the Oompa Loompa is president again. He keeps on railing about the American Care Act being tossed out and affordable healthcare returning. After his wife has been called, I point out that one of the primary functions of the act was to protect people with existing conditions, and that it includes his wife and almost everyone in this room, as remission is not a cure. So in effect, he voted his wife to be without healthcare the next time the cancer comes back, so he can give a big slap on the back to himself for effectively killing everyone here. Nice job. Go have another smoke to calm your nerves, buddy. He walked out without a word. I feel like some people just take what politicians say at their word and don't exactly do the research to figure out what they're voting for. Figure out what they're actually going to do first before you vote them, and don't just take their word blindly. Small inconvenience for you? Big smile for me. Was driving to the supermarket with my baby in the car when a guy cut me off. I had to swerve and do an emergency stop to avoid hitting him, so I obviously sounded my horn and flipped them off. I started driving again and saw him go to the supermarket as well. I took a picture of his car/license plate. Not sure what I was planning to do with it, but I just did it. Went shopping, and on my way out, I told the customer service desk that the driver of his car left his headlights on. They weren't. They called him on the speakers. I didn't hand back, but I can just imagine his annoyance. I mean, it's not like the biggest thing like they say, but it will be a little inconvenience for them. They'll have to run out, go check their car, come back and continue their shop, and they'll just be a little bit annoyed. And you know what? That's a pretty good revenge. Well done. Good luck finding your damn tomato soup. My brother frequently eats foods that isn't his. My brother eats my baked goods without asking, even when he knows I'm saving them for friends. I have talked to him about this, saved him extra food, and tried to hide whatever I make. Nothing has worked. Yesterday, I baked an apple pie for Thanksgiving and then hid it in the guest room so he wouldn't eat it. I'm not even sure how he found it, but he did. He saw me during lunch and mockingly thanked me for the delicious pie. There is now a giant slice cut out, about a quarter of the pie, and my Thanksgiving contribution is now significantly less presentable. This was the last straw. During Thanksgiving, my brother usually handles the cranberry sauce and tomato soup, both of which come in your standard tin can. They are stored in the pantry with about 20 other canned foods, mostly my beans. I mark the base of each can with dots. The number of dots corresponds to what kind of food it is, so I know which is which. I then tore off the label from every single can. The cans are now almost entirely identical, and there is no way to tell them apart. My brother is livid because he doesn't know which cans are his tomato soup, and he doesn't want to open 20 cans of food to find out. Pretty much everyone despises him for eating our food, so he has no clue who did it. He ruined my Thanksgiving contribution, so I ruined his. I mean, yeah, this guy's just like a straight up butt. Like, I don't know why he's so proud of eating other people's food and even like searching for it. What is wrong with this person? Why are they so entitled? Alright, I think that's enough revenge for today, guys. Like, subscribe, watch other videos, do all that cool stuff. I'll see you in another one.